Hello and welcome to At Your Service. My name is David Hawksworth and we're here today with Marissa Patton, who's with the Community Relations Division here at the city. Marissa, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
We're here to give you a good brief overview of the Community Relations Division here at the city. And that's a division that has to do with making sure that, as we said just off camera now, discrimination has no home in Salina. So one of the things that I think you guys deal with a lot is housing complaints. So tell me what you guys do in relation to that.
Yeah, so our office is considered a Fair Housing Assistance Program. We have a partnership with HUD to investigate housing discrimination. Now, this doesn't include like regular landlord-tenant issues, but it's more if a landlord per se is mistreating somebody because of their race, gender, disability, because of the color of their skin, because they have kids in the home, or because of their religion. That's something that we can look into.
Okay. So what would be, if someone feels like that's happening to them, what's the process for getting in touch with you and getting that started?
So we have an intake form that they can complete online or in person, or they can call our office and kind of tell us a little bit more about what's going on. And once we kind of like see that, yes, there could be a connection, we'll sit down with them, have what we call like an intake interview to kind of get more information so I can understand the full story there. You know, I need to know what actions have occurred, when it occurred, and try to figure out if, yes, that the landlord does qualify as a landlord under the Fair Housing Act. And then from that intake, we start filing a formal complaint.
Okay. And I think one thing to emphasize here is that you guys try to get these kinds of things resolved before you have to go to a formal process.
Yes. So once a complaint is filed, during that investigation period, we have what we call conciliation opportunities. So this is where we can resolve the issue without having to take it to the full process.
Okay. In the event that it does have to go to a formal process, what happens at that point?
Yeah. So I act as a neutral party as the investigator. I talk to the tenant, I talk to witnesses, I talk to the landlord. I try to gather as much evidence as I can to write a report for our commissioners of the Human Relations Commission. They will be selected randomly, 3 of them. They will be conflict checked, make sure they don't know the tenant, they don't know the landlord, there's no interest there, and they will review that form to determine whether or not there has been probable cause of discrimination, and if there has been probable cause of discrimination, it can move forward to court.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like kind of an involved process, and I'm sure that will take time to work its way through, but if it helps resolve the issue, that's makes it worth it.
Yeah.
So.
And we usually try to get our complaints resolved within 100 days.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know because people sometimes have thoughts of, okay, this will drag on for months or years, and I'll just have to give up because it's too much. But that makes it much more manageable, I think. So, okay. Another area that you guys are involved in is the public accommodations. So tell me about what you do there.
Yeah, so public accommodation discrimination includes like businesses or like public swimming pools or something like that, like including like hair salons, anything where or a business transaction can occur. Now with public accommodation discrimination, chances are it's more often a disability issue or an accessibility issue to where maybe like the parking lot doesn't have a good access for handicap parking or there's not an accessible entrance. Now these, whenever we have somebody come up with a public accommodation discrimination, we try not to go through the full process. Usually we reach out to the businesses in an informal way saying, hey, we've had this complaint come up. Is there a way that we can get this resolved? And most businesses are really good about getting that resolved without going through that formal process.
Yeah, I'm sure businesses don't want to spend the time or the money to have to go through that formal process. So, okay, another area that you guys are involved in is employment discrimination. So
yes, we do handle employment discrimination. It does have a shorter timeline than housing or public accommodation discrimination. These need to be reached out to and started file a complaint within 6 months of the act of discrimination. This includes race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and age for employment discrimination. One thing with our office is we do not have the ability to file in federal court, or with the EEOC, just because the state holds that contract. So if somebody has, I guess, a huge disadvantage with their employment, they've been out of a lot of money or have been injured in regards to this, they may want to file with the state versus the city.
Okay, all right. And so the basic intake in your department is kind of the same for all these processes?
Yeah, so we'll do the intake interview, we'll do the investigation, all the same.
Okay, all right. Kind of another area you guys are involved in is the ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act, and making sure that that's all being followed. So what do you do in relation to that?
Yeah, so our supervisor, Michelle Martin, is the ADA coordinator for the city of Salina, and this always kind of falls a little bit hand in hand with the public accommodation discrimination. So any ADA grievances are in regards to city property. Like if somebody discovers that the city's building's not accessible, or one of the parks isn't accessible, or there's an issue there, they can reach out to our office and we'll work to get that resolved.
Okay, all right. If you're feeling like you're discriminated against, what is the process? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to our office at 785-309-5745, or go to our website to fill out a discrimination complaint, or email us to say, hey, I have this issue. I'm not sure if it's exactly discrimination, but I've run into this issue and I'd like to try to find a resolution.
And right here is the link to get to the Community Relations Division's site. And it'll have a lot of good information about the kinds of things we're talking about today, and the forms that are available to fill out if you feel you need to file something.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Anything else that we need to know about the Community Relations Division?
Our website also has landlord-tenant documents. So we have, if anybody needs samples of 3-day notices or samples of a lease agreement, we have those on there. We also have links to the Kansas landlord-tenant law. Our office, we don't handle landlord-tenant complaints, but we can help direct the landlords or the tenants to the right areas to get that information.
Okay, all right. Well, you guys do so much to help people in the community, and I know it's really appreciated by a lot of people. So thanks for your work, and we're glad that you guys are doing that for the city of Salina.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, hopefully this provides you some good information. Hopefully you're not being discriminated against, but if you feel you are, there's help available right here in town. So, Marissa, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time on At Your Service.